History has gifted us very few minds that genuinely reshaped how humanity understands the universe. Albert Einstein stands at the very top of that list. His ability to look at the world differently, to ask questions no one else even thought to ask, placed him in a league entirely his own. He was a theoretical physicist who gave the world the special theory of relativity, introduced the iconic equation E=mc², and explained the photoelectric effect in a way that transformed modern science. For these contributions, he received the Nobel Prize in Physics. People naturally wondered, was there something physically unique about the brain behind all of this? Einstein himself had thought about this possibility and wanted no part of it. He left clear instructions that upon his death, his body should be cremated, with no opportunity for scientific examination. Fate, however, had other plans. On April 18, 1955, Einstein passed away at Princeton Hospital in New Jersey. During the routine post-mortem examination, the pathologist on duty, Dr. Thomas Harvey, made a decision that would follow him for the rest of his life. Driven entirely by personal curiosity, he removed Einstein's brain without authorization, without consent, and without any legal right to do so. The hospital administration found out and immediately terminated his employment. Still, Dr. Harvey managed to obtain a degree of unofficial approval from Einstein's son Hans Albert to study the brain for scientific purposes, on the condition that findings would eventually be published and shared with the scientific community. With that fragile agreement in hand, an extraordinary and deeply strange chapter of medical history began. Harvey was a pathologist by training, not a neuroscientist. He understood post-mortem procedures but was far from equipped to conduct the kind of specialized brain research the situation demanded. Nevertheless, he carried the brain with him to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where he photographed it thoroughly, then sliced it into approximately 240 separate sections. Each section was stored individually in glass containers and kept hidden in his basement. This arrangement caused constant tension at home. His wife, fed up with sharing her house with the brain of a dead scientist, threatened on multiple occasions to dispose of it. The conflict was never resolved peacefully. It ended in divorce. Harvey then relocated to Wichita, Kansas, carrying the brain along with him, and took up work as a medical supervisor. He studied the sections in whatever spare hours he could find, though meaningful progress remained out of reach. Over the following years, Harvey continued moving from city to city, from job to job, with the brain always in tow. His medical license was eventually revoked. His circumstances deteriorated to the point where he was working shifts at a plastics manufacturing facility. Yet through all of this, the brain sat quietly in storage. The one productive decision Harvey made during this entire period was to distribute several tissue samples to prominent neurologists around the world, hoping that proper scientific minds could do what he could not. That decision finally paid off. 30 years after the original removal, in 1985, the first peer-reviewed study on Einstein's brain was officially published. Over the following nearly 3 decades, multiple independent researchers contributed their own studies, each adding new detail to what made this particular brain structurally unusual. The most significant finding across all these studies was related to the corpus callosum, the thick bundle of nerve fibers that connects the brain's left and right hemispheres. To understand why this matters, a brief explanation of brain structure helps. The human brain functions in 2 halves. The left hemisphere governs the right side of the body and in roughly 9 out of 10 people handles language processing, logical reasoning, mathematical thinking, and written communication. The right hemisphere governs the left side of the body and is generally associated with creative thinking, spatial awareness, musical ability, and artistic perception. These 2 halves do not operate in complete isolation. They communicate constantly through the corpus callosum, which acts as the primary information bridge between them. In Einstein's brain, this bridge was significantly wider and more developed than what is typically observed in adult humans. The result was an unusually powerful line of communication between the analytical and creative sides of his brain, a structural advantage that may explain how he could simultaneously visualize abstract physical scenarios and translate them into precise mathematical language. Researchers also noted noted that Einstein's brain exhibited an atypical folding pattern across several regions associated with numerical and spatial processing. This denser folding is believed to increase the surface area available for neural connections, supporting faster and more efficient information flow. What made this especially striking was that Einstein reportedly could solve highly complex mathematical problems entirely in his head, without writing a single step down on paper. One additional finding stood out regarding weight. Einstein's brain, when measured, came in at approximately 1,230 grams. The average adult brain weighs closer to 1,400 grams. Researchers noted that the outer cortical layer in Einstein's brain was notably thinner than average, which paradoxically allowed a higher density of neurons to be packed within a smaller overall mass. This compression is believed to have contributed to the extraordinary processing capacity he demonstrated throughout his life. A deeper question, however, lingered through all of this research. Was Einstein simply born with an exceptional brain, or did his brain become exceptional through how he used it? The evidence points toward the latter. As a child, Einstein showed no signs of early brilliance in conventional terms. He did not begin speaking until around the age of 5, well behind the typical developmental window of 2 to 3 years. Even after finding his words, he preferred silence and spent much of his childhood absorbed in his own internal world. He struggled to memorize basic facts, including simple multiplication tables. Rather than storing information, he preferred to derive it, to reason his way to answers through logic rather than recall. His academic record was similarly uneven. While he consistently fell short in subjects requiring rote memorization or strict rule following, his understanding of mathematics and natural science was already exceptional in his early teens. At 12, he independently worked through an entire geometry textbook that a tutor had left behind at his family's home, completing it in a single day. By 14, he had independently mastered integral and differential calculus. His classroom presence made faculty uncomfortable in the best possible way. When Einstein raised his hand to ask a question, teachers would hesitate, not because he was disruptive, but because his questions frequently pushed beyond the boundaries of what they could confidently answer. From early in his life, Einstein held one central ambition: to capture the deepest truths of the physical universe within the simplest possible mathematical expressions. That ambition became his life's organizing principle. By age 26, he had published 4 landmark papers in a single year, each one a contribution that would have defined most scientists' entire careers on its own. He was awarded a doctoral degree and eventually the Nobel Prize in recognition of his profound impact on human understanding of nature. The scientific consensus that emerged from decades of study is that Einstein's brain was not pre-programmed for greatness at birth. Rather, his relentless habit of confronting problems he could not immediately solve, refusing to accept easy answers, and pushing his mind to construct its own frameworks, from childhood onward, physically shaped the development of his neural architecture over time. The brain responded to how it was used. Today, the preserved tissue samples from Einstein's brain are held at the Mütter Museum in Philadelphia, carefully maintained as microscopic slides available for ongoing scholarly examination. They remain one of the most studied and most unusual biological specimens in the history of modern neuroscience.